Alright, looks like we fixed. Welcome back, it's Hadrada here. After some weird issues going on with my stream, I just pray to God that I'm not crashing again today. I've cleaned my PC and everything, so I'm hoping that we're all good now. Either way, I'm gonna cast again, bracket G. Still that bracket, I know. It's still the same bracket that I'm playing in myself. I believe this is actually the last remaining series from the first round that I haven't casted yet. At least I think I've covered all the ones that are posted in the Discord server. Maybe some series weren't actually played or something, but I think we're pretty much good with that bracket. And since the first week is just now over, we're pretty good on schedule here, having covered all of these series. Now, this is actually the number one seed of our bracket playing, and he's also in chat, curiously. Hello, Quintem. Good to see you. Yeah, I'm interested in seeing how that went. I obviously won't be playing these two players for now, but maybe down the line in the bracket, if I stay alive, that is, there could be a chance that I'll be facing one of these. Also, yeah, I guess since these are WOTs, we don't have to wait and sit around a bunch, and we can just take a look at the drafts and hop right into the games then. We have Quintem against Echee slash jeap95. The man seems to have a few names. Either way, Quintem is the number one seed in the bracket. His opponent, the 16th seed. So I guess you could see there. I guess you could say that there's a clear favorite here, but in our brackets here down in this elo, the elo difference between the players is pretty much negligible. So in terms of elo, it doesn't really matter all that much. Now the maps for this are interesting. Cross is something I don't think I've seen played outside of my own series. Arabia, we've seen a few times. Evacuation as well at this point. I'm still a bit torn on Evacuation. I love the map concept, but somehow it more often than not seems to devolve into long drawn out games, which I definitely don't like, especially from a casting perspective, but even more so from a player's perspective, honestly. So maybe we hope that won't be played today. Let's see. Just because usually I'm down for some longer streams, but today I'm already a bit tired. I'm gonna have to get up in 9 hours, so maybe keep it a bit shorter. We'll see. First game is gonna be on Cross, and then we'll see where they go from there in terms of civs. Oh yeah, we've got some really decent civs on both sides for these maps in terms of regular meta stuff. I think pro players would be pretty happy with both of these drafts going into these maps. For Evacuation, for example, right, we've got Japanese there for Quintem, which have looked quite strong. On the other side, there's Mongols, perfect for Evacuation, but could also definitely play some Persians there. For Cross, you could also see Japanese there, but I'm thinking maybe Italians is the likely option. But then again, you can switch those around, and even Vietnamese are decent on water maps too, so you could all even pick them in that spot if you wanted to, although they're more of a classic Arabia Civ as well, so they're really flexible in this draft. For Echee's side, I guess Persians maybe fits more on Cross than Mongols, so maybe Mongols are for Evacuation then. Britons is something that I played on Cross myself, actually, so I could see that as well. Although, did I play that on Cross? No, I don't think I did. I think that's a strategy that I haven't revealed yet, actually. Well, now I have, but joke's on my next opponent. There's no chance he's actually watching this, so I'm good. And no, okay, so Arabia is the last map, as I mentioned. Vietnamese is the most likely civ, I guess, for Quintem, but who knows? Maybe he's gonna mix it up as well. His draft is flexible enough so that he has some options to switch civs around, as I pointed out. His opponent, I mean, Mongols are great on Arabia too, but I'm expecting more so Britons and Ethiopians. He seems to be an archer kind of guy, honestly, although the bans that Quintem went for wouldn't necessarily suggest that he evaluates his opponent as an archer player himself, but we'll see. Cross as the first map, so as I said, I'm kind of expecting Italians against Persians here. Let's see if that is indeed what they go for. Jump into that first game if we can load it up. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Game 1 of the series. Quintem against Jeep slash Echee. whatever. And beautiful colors. Orange against green. I really love that contrast. And we haven't seen both of these colors really at all in the casts that I've done here. So that's cool. With the Japanese pick for Quintem, I'm a tad surprised. Again, maybe would have picked Italians here, but still a good water sieve. And they should be competitive here. Of course, they've got a pretty good fishing economy in terms of, well, just working rate from the fishing ships, right? And then also they're saving a lot of wood in the early game with that eco-building discount. So you're typically able to get some fishing ships out nice and early. And you also have some nice infantry to add in. So yeah, well, I don't know. Yeah, fuck it. I can just talk about. I can just talk about my strategy with these civs. No chance my opponent actually watches this and somehow factors this into his strategy. So yeah, no infantry play with Japanese. Nice. I almost always go for some man-at-arms shenanigans or something of that sort. It's just quite tempting. The damage output is really high. Starting feudal age there, obviously with the faster attack rate. And then nowadays people enjoy Japanese cavalry archers later on as well. So you've got options. You're not bound purely to infantry. Well, Goths players will be quite jealous of that fact. And yeah, even hand cannon available later on, so not too bad. Japanese. Let's see how much use he can make of that fish. Quintem in chat saying that his opponent, that being Jeep, mainly plays team games, so it's difficult to evaluate what he would pick in 1v1s, I can imagine. So he says he just went off of win rate. Fair enough. That's an approach. At least you did some prep and banned some effective civs for your opponent, right? Who in this game is playing as the Persians? And I really despise this civ. I think it's absolutely horrible for my enjoyment of the game. I can't speak to how well it is designed from a game designer's perspective, because I frankly don't really care with that. I can just say from my own experience, this civ is so damn annoying. The faster TCs, faster working TCs makes it so you're generally from the first minute of the game you're on a timer to do damage, because if you don't, then the opponent will naturally just get ahead in eco for nothing, just for existing. And then I don't know, their new unique unit, the Savar or whatever it's called. Nah, man, that is such crap, man. I hate that shit. Whenever I see that upgrade come in, I don't know. I feel like yeah, just take the win already. I don't even know the stats. I don't even know if it's a great unit. I just hate how it feels playing against it. I'm a certified hater. Well, good thing I don't have to play in this one, and I can enjoy the tactical side of Persians, which is, of course, again, the great eco, and even more so on water maps, because not only are the town centers obviously working faster, but the docks as well. You even start with some extra res, so that, similarly to the Japanese, you're able to get out fishing ships a bit faster than the average civ, usually. And then you're also not a stinky old infantry civ, so you're actually more 2024 appropriate. Can go into cavalries, can go into trash bows, right? So the options are maybe a bit more modern for the Persians. But still, I like the Japanese better personally, for sure. Yeah, there's that. Would like to see them win. Neither player is up to the next age yet. We can see them taking their time. Nobody's going for some crazy land rush. We actually have a palisade play for Quintem, protecting his own pond. Of course, the Persian docks very tanky once they go up, so it's maybe a good idea to get some barricades there, so they can't contest your pond as easily. At least not without you noticing. There's Loom, and there's Feudal Age now for Jeep. And with those faster working town centers, you even age up a little bit faster than your opponents. So Jeep having that on the way already, while Quintem hasn't been clicked up yet, is going to result in several minutes of earlier feudal age time, it seems, for the Persians here. Japanese could click up somewhat soon, but the timing difference is going to be real. We'll see if that's going to be punished. Obviously no dock for Jeep, so his eco numbers are much lower right now. Hasn't gone out to the water at all. We'll see if that'll come to hurt him. Bonus damage to archers. Okay, yeah, well, that's kind of always been the Persian identity. I really hate them. Maybe because I'm more of an archer player myself, and so I'm not having a great time against those type of units usually. Jeep in danger of losing that scout, but pays attention. Maneuvers around the GC. Causes some idle time there. And Quintem walling up. This looks very meta, right, from Quintem. Doesn't rush up to the next stage early, goes for that one pawn, protects it, and goes for walls afterwards. I feel like I've seen play similar to this in the games that I've watched from Hidden Cup or something, right? You'll have the standard slow build up with the nice eco from the water, which Jeep will not have at all. And so he's up to the next stage now. He's gonna get his eco upgrades. Plays this exactly as though it were Arabia, pretty much. Didn't squeeze out a super early uptime though, so I don't think this is gonna net him too much. Like, unless you're super early and you're catching the opponent completely off guard, I feel like this type of play, I like this, right? Because I'm a water hater myself, but I feel like it's just not viable. In no world can this be optimal, because the opponent just has more res to work with than you, that you can't exploit. So, yeah, right? This kind of is what it is. You're kind of forced to contest the water a bit at least. And on this type of map, that means either you go for some crazy forward dock shenanigans, which have been somewhat denied here, or you just put up a dock yourself and get some fishing ships out. I'm especially surprised by him doing this while picking the Persians, right? If you wanted to do a surprise land play here, maybe you wouldn't have picked the Persians. But then again, Persians are exactly the civ that your opponent would expect you to go for a standard dock play with. So actually, now that I think about it, if you want to go for some sneaky land action, the Persians are actually one of the best civs for that, because with their TC bonus as well as their extra starting rest, they should be able to get up to the feudal age extremely fast and have enough rest to produce a few military units. But sadly, Jeep didn't squeeze the most out of such a potential build. So I'm not sure the power of Persians really shines in this approach. No water whatsoever. Let's see if he's even got the pond scouted. What are the chances he thinks he's playing Arabia right now? For some reason. Oh no, okay, he spotted the water down here, and that's too much water for it to just be lakes on Arabia. Well, I don't know. What was worth a look. Again, I relate to this a lot. I respect this type of play a ton from Jeep, and I hope it succeeds, because if this succeeds somehow, then I'll definitely be copying that. If there's any way to avoid water on a water map, I'll jump on it. Don't get me wrong. And he's ahead in score, somehow. Alright, I guess... Yeah, why is he actually ahead in score? KD wouldn't suggest so. Units wouldn't suggest so. Technologies wouldn't suggest so. So I can't tell you why he's actually even slash... well, now he's no longer ahead, but yeah, couldn't tell you. Maybe it's just the scouting after all. I always thought water was so important for score. Little did I know. Okay. Well, he's losing a few of these scouts, taking a few hits a bit too easily, maybe. Oh yeah, that's exactly what you don't want to have happen. Taking two more unnecessary pokes. He's even brought some forward villages that I hadn't noticed immediately. But those aren't going to accomplish anything either. I mean, he wasn't going to douche with two wills at this point anymore. So the question is really, what was the plan? Just a tower play? Just a forward production building? Just dock or the enemy pond or something? I don't know. We'll see. Maybe he comes back, it seems like. With the skirmisher numbers being higher, he feels re-emboldened to make a move. And okay, Quintem says we're fighting fire with fire. Villagers come out. Not sure where that guy is going, by the way. Don't think he knows either. And yeah, it was just going to be a tower, apparently, for Jeep. I'm not sure he has enough army to really force this tower to go up, though. Let's see, there's a spearman, and so the scouts have to go back. The villagers go back yet again. This is such an awkward situation. Also has more idle TC time than his opponent behind all of this. So even, like, usually even if you go for a forward play and it fails, you kind of can justify it by saying, I definitely did some damage by distracting the opponent, hindering him from setting up a proper eco, maybe idling his TC. But as it so often does, here as well, it seems to have had the opposite effect, and Echee himself was actually the one being idled more by this than Quintem. Yeah, I'm not loving this for him. Looks like that sacrificial villager is going to end up being taken out. So the Eco KD is now 2-0 in favor of Jeep. That's at least something. Makes up the Eco numbers there with those 2 kills, as well as being Persians, right? But usually being Persians means that you're ahead in Eco numbers. So this is already not the best position to be in here in Feudal Age. And if you take a look at the resource count in the bank, it seems like Quintem is in a super solid spot. If you just, I don't even know if he needs these archers. He can just keep making full trash units, honestly, I feel, and that would even be good enough to just stay alive until Castle Age. And from there on out, you've got a lot of options, obviously. Does he have the market yet? I think I saw him put one up earlier, didn't I? Yeah, he does. Could click up at any moment, if he so chooses. And he was going for that tower, but that apparently was not going to happen with the army being numerous. Bit of market usage, and there he goes. Quintem clicks up to Castle Age. Jeep is not going to get there. Well, maybe at all, but at least not for another few minutes. He's housed as well at the moment. So things could be going better for the Persians right now. Boshu cannot push past this little hill here that Quintem is wisely holding onto. The wall is super nice, really. It funnels all of the aggression down this very small path here where he has enough army to hold it down. And, yeah, hasn't docked the second pond yet. Maybe that's something he would have liked to do earlier. I think he saw some units walking over there. But as long as he stays alive, and he can tell as well by the score. Usually when you've clicked up to the next age, your score dips a bit. He's ahead of his opponent, even despite him having clicked up and his enemy not having been able to do so yet. So this is a really nice game state for the Japanese. Oh, and what will the transition be? It looks like it's just going to be double range archers here, at least for the time being. The upgrades there are pretty good. Archer padding is in, fletching is in, and the numbers are pretty decent. So Botkin crossbow seems to be the reasonable play in early Castle Age. I can definitely see a 2 or maybe even 3 TC boom being launched behind this. That would be probably the standard pro approach at this point, I feel. Just upgrade your 15 archers, whatever you're gonna have. Maybe it's only to 10, but that's good enough. Upgrade those to crossbows with Botkin, pressure with that, and boom behind it to get a massive eco lead. It would be the most popular approach. But Quintem has actually spent quite a lot of wood. I'm not sure what on. Extra farms, it seems. Wonder what he's going to go into with 20 farms. What are 20 farms going to be used for? Oh, apparently we're buying some wood to do what? I thought to drop more TCs, but he's actually going to drop another dock for now. In Castle Age, I don't think docks are nearly worth as much as a TC. If you can choose between the two, always put up the TC. Provides protection, provides faster eco production, more flexible eco production. Even if you're Japanese, I don't think, yeah. Crossbows are in, 40 seconds away from Castle Age, still is Echee. And Quintem can definitely out-micro this. Shouldn't be too big of a problem. Even has Thumbring coming in now. Okay, that'll cost him a lot of wood. Not sure he's got a university yet. Okay, so no ballistics on the way, but this is still a pretty potent army of crossbows. Yeah, sure, Jeep can pump a few more skirms out, maybe upgrade them to elite, but that's a big investment that he was probably hoping not to have to make with the Persians, as usually your knights are pretty good against archers, right? Well, defensive tower even, and in a very unfavorable location here. That really doesn't do that much, I don't think. Okay, I mean, it forces Quintem out, but he can just run all the way around if he really wants to get to the southern part of the eco, which I'm not sure he did. 2,000 more resources collected at this point already by the Japanese. Meh. Not a fan of this for Jeep. Finally, we see another TC on the way for Quintem. Probably a good choice. Has a lot of rest here. Again, the 20 farms I don't think was really that great an idea. He's not been producing anything with that food right now. It's not like he's fast inputting or anything, or going into scouts, or having 4 TCs where 20 farms would actually be needed. So, yeah, think that wood could have been spent on 2 TCs or on a university or whatever you really wanted to do there. Finally some fishing ships from that new dock as well. Okay, it's a lot of extra food in this pond. What is it? 1800? Not too bad, but you can see 1800 food, that's not even that great for a dock in Castle Age to be gathering. Ballistics now on the way. It seems the university was finally made. Let's see how well he can trade into this mangonel though. Very fast reaction. Not sure he knew it was there, but walked back really fast once he got vision of it. And another stable for Echee. Okay, well, the night transition is to be expected generally from Persians. Still no dock. Quintem doesn't know that, I don't think. Oh no, well, he scouted it now. There's not a single fishing ship down in this pond, surprisingly. Nothing forward yet as well from the Persians. I thought maybe get a few knights out and start counter-raiding at this point. But he seems very concerned with defense. Second TC also on the way for him. That's gonna help. He definitely needs some protection for those villagers, but the crossbows are still gonna be annoying to deal with, even with that TC going up. Yeah, but look at this. Ballistics is in. The villagers are gonna suffer. Quickly they go into that TC. But nice movement there from Quintem. He's really outputting a lot of damage while taking quite minimal hits in return. 30C, good choice. Yeah, slowly but surely he's kind of doing the macro plays that I had suggested at the start of Castle Age. I like the early hand card as well. Well, this one, it's not that early even, but yeah, good timing for it, I assume. And of course the crossbows here, they are not actually gonna be threatening too much more with all these buildings being up. But if he was really nerdy, if he has all the APM at his disposal, if he's not forced to do anything else, he can keep walking back and forth, keep walking up, hit a few villagers, force the army to move around. The mangonel is slow, it can't defend all places at once. Gotta be careful though, as I mentioned earlier. The night counter raids could definitely start coming in soon. Quintem is still open here at the very front, so Jeep can get through. First one was pretty decent, even behind this. Look, he's got 23 total crossbows. Okay. Starting to one by one take out these forward buildings. Knights from Jeep have taken a few turns around the map. It looks like they might finally be threatening something. He's within full vision of Quintem though, so I'm not sure why he's moving so close to the buildings. And dares not go in there with the crossbowman guarding the entrance. Okay, well, no upgrades on the knights at all. All he has is upgrades for skirmishers, and he's gotten the leather archer armor even ahead of Bodkin arrow, which is, as I have said so often during these casts already, I don't think this is almost ever a good choice, getting the armor before the attack upgrade on skirms or archers. So I'm not loving that choice either from him, sadly. Villager numbers not looking great for him. Army numbers not looking great. Man go against crossbows. Let's see the micro. Ooh, okay, not a lot of micro. Loses a few crossbows. That was a decent trade for Jeep overall. Also has Bodkin coming in now, so the skirms are going to be a bit more effective. Already has a new mangonel out. I like that. Not gonna have to panic, has a few more queued up, that's definitely smart. The mangonel's being produced at home for Quintem. Well, he's got a lot of army that's still hanging out at home, including this siege, so that could have potentially been used a bit faster and more efficiently. And for the fact that he's got 3 TCs and 2 docks, the eco numbers are a lot closer than they need to be. Persians, sure, but still, I mean, could have probably with the 20 farms that he had, could have used those GCs a bit more efficiently. But it is what it is. He still is ahead. He's gonna click up to Impia soon, I believe. Otherwise, not sure why he'd be banking this much food. Although he kind of has been doing that all Castle Age long, so who knows. But he has the buildings at this point, so could be clicking up, which the Persians cannot. And, I don't know, even 20 arbalests in Imp here, which he's now on the way to. With some bombard cannon. Oh, well, you don't get bombard cannons, but with some traps alongside them. That's already something I don't think Echee right now is equipped to stop, especially since he's going to put up another TC. He's got a lot on stone, so he's probably aiming to put up a castle as well. But how much is that going to do if he's nowhere close to being able to go up to Imp himself? Skirm's now dying to that mangonel. That's why you keep your army at home, guys. You go forward with a bit of army, and then you bait the enemy army to chase you. And then at home you have that mega force setup that just squishes them and completely, well, annihilates it. Very nicely done. Those skirmishers definitely have learned their lesson. Alright, well, forward goes Quintem now. Defensive castle attempted. That is not the spot, my man. I don't think you're putting a castle there right now. Could be wrong. Maybe the mangonel is going to be super sick. Okay, let's check it out. There's a bunch of low HP ones in that crossbow army. Don't think Jeep realizes that the opponent is this far ahead, especially in terms of being up to Imp already. But it is what it is. He's gonna go for this castle now. And let's see. Are we gonna see elephants against these crossbows? I don't think so. There's a bunch of pikes in there already, so I don't think elephants is the play here. Castle is up. Half a minute until Imp for Quintem. He's got the siege. He's got a bunch of well-upgraded crossbows. Maybe the mangonel micro can save Jeep here if he's on point with it. Hill bonus is tricky though. Okay, gets a decent few shots in, but nothing to protect against the pikemen. Where's the skirmishers? There's only one left alive at this point. So he's just made that castle at home and not producing anything from it really. Obviously he's not an Imp, so the options are limited. But it's not even really protecting or buying himself a lot of extra eco space. Oh, he's gonna have to land some good shots here from the hill that he's sitting on. That was nice. Can he take out a second one? He can. Okay. Now we're cooking. Okay, that one doesn't quite kill. The pikeman finishes off the siege. Can he get some extra shots in here? He really needs to find some damage with the pike or with the mangonels. Stall the pikes, stall that push in general. Quintem is up to Imp already. Doesn't have a castle yet, so no traps are going to be coming. He's got a lot of res. Well, I guess there's no need to really expand your eco. He could be on 100 wills or something right now, but if he had 100 wills at this point, he'd only have even more resources floating. So I don't think that is the bottleneck right now. Spend your res, mate, and then you'll be good. Another castle, actually. Yeah, no, this is not. I don't like when I'm seeing this, especially from low elo players. Sometimes pro players will be able to somehow stall the game out long enough to get back into a playable position. But in lower elos, if your opponent is Imp and is pushing forward already, I don't like the approach of just dropping castles and TCs and trying to boom away from it, or I don't know. I don't know what the theory behind it is really, but I think you just need to spam a bunch of army in Castle Age, or go up to Imp as fast as possible yourself as well. I don't think this type of a map control approach is too effective most of the time, especially in our elo here. Haven't really seen it work a lot of the time. Bracer is in. Arbalest is in for Quintem. He's got a super strong army here, even despite the lack of proper siege weapons. The village numbers sure a lot better for Jeep at this point, but not sure pure eco is going to do it for him here. Don't think so, in fact. Fish traps up for Quintem. Eco upgrades are decent. Double bit axe only is a bit of a problem. He could have a lot more wood. So his eco is definitely his worst kind of, yeah, his worst skill, maybe, I don't know, in this game. Otherwise, though, he's got a good hold on the map control here. He's got a really nice wall, as I mentioned. I like the build, I like the unit choices for him. Seems solid. Finally up to Imp is Jeep after using the market a ton. Does he have a lot of gold left with inside his control? Well, not really. This gold here is not too bad, right? He's got 2 piles there for a total of 4,000. But that's not all that safe. This gold is just about to run out. And that's it really. The only gold he has are those piles here with the new TC. And that is a very unfortified position That's why he was trying to put the castle up here, presumably. But nothing stops these ops from just waltzing through and killing a bunch of workers at this point. As we see, again, a bunch idled, a bunch dead. Chemistry on the way for Quintem now, as the last missing upgrade kind of for these archers' attack. Again, I don't think we've seen a single counter raid all game long here. Bo's also a good pickup at this point. Better late than never, right? And yeah, had he just, I don't know, done any siege, like he's got the res. Even if you don't have a castle, you don't want to buy one. The best move would have just been to buy a castle at the start of him, just put it in forward and end the game from there. But even if you don't want to do that, you're a bit stingy and so, okay. I think just get siege ram, get siege onager, get anything that can take out buildings and start raising this base. The opponent has shown nothing that would make you respect his army. And so that would have been, yeah, the logical approach for me. In general, he's extremely timid here with how he approaches the enemy. Almost as though he was expecting a big amount of knights or something to be coming from back of his base. Which, I mean, sure, that could be the place. That could be the play for Jeep, right? He could have been stacking army this entire time, not trying to show it to the enemy. Could have been late to the next age because he spent so much in military or whatever. But at this point, it seems rather unlikely, right? He hasn't raided you once. And you've taken a bunch of stuff where he hasn't shown anything of that army. Finally, he's gonna get some cavalry upgrades, and he's actually queuing some war elephants. Interesting play. Well, that could do well. I mean, against onagers, against arbalests, sure. There's a bunch of helps coming in, though, for Quintem. He's getting some siege upgrades here, finally. With traps also being on the way. Although the castle is, again, a bit more back than it needed to be. Looks like the Persian TC, as tanky as it may be, it's not going to hold up forever here either. And that gold is just about to be out of reach for Jeep, and at that point it's going to be extra difficult. No matter if you're going elephants or knights or whatever you're building. The trash bows at that point are going to be your best friend. I don't know. Now this seems over for Echee. I hate to say it, but he doesn't have any army on the field and he doesn't have any gold anymore, so he's not going to get to make any army for the rest of this game. The existing army is not equipped to take out this push. The war elephant, look at it. It's tanky, but not tanky enough. Wow, how much damage is this guy? He doesn't have that much pierce armor, honestly. I thought he'd just take 1 damage per arrow. But no, he actually takes a lot of damage from these 10 attack arbalests, 7 damage a shot. Yeah, he's just melting here. Only the first cavalry upgrade on that war elephant. Yeah, that sucked for Jeep. And he's just not fast enough here. The opponent faster to him, faster with all the upgrades and more army on the map. He's gonna smother him at this point. Hello there, Rap Deck. Good to see you as well. Oh, I'm super tired already, I gotta admit. Been up since 6 AM, gonna get up tomorrow again at 6 AM. It is what it is. It is what it is, but I wanted to cast another series, at least one series today. So that's what we're here for. It looks like the first game is just about over here. GGs are given. And Japanese take out the Persians. They're alright, on cross. Well, game was more interesting than mine on this map. Why? I guess you're asking why I'm getting up that early. Well, this week it's for another table tennis event. They are playing in Asia, so the time zones are making it so the games are in the morning until around early afternoon in Europe. So if I want to be watching that, yeah, gotta be getting up early. That's the grind. And it's also just a good thing in general to be getting up at human hours, right? Just feel like you're naturally more productive. At least I am, if I'm on that type of a schedule. That was the first game of the series cross. We have 1 or 2 more left. We'll see. I actually have to go to the bathroom. I went before starting to cast, but for some reason, I don't know. It's been a bit weird today, so give me a second while I return from the bathroom. Okay. We're back for the second game of the series. Your roommate and you were undefeated in table tennis doubles. Yeah, but you're in the US, so there's like 5 table tennis players in your entire country total. That's like, I don't know, that's like saying if I'm in Germany, right? It's like I'm saying, oh, I was like the 3rd best American football player in my state. I mean, nice, right? Anybody can claim that. I love, man, yeah. Just for that alone, just for that opportunity to talk some smack on the United States, was already worth it staying up this late. So, yeah, but I share your enthusiasm, and I'm sad that it isn't a more popular sport in the US, because I think it is just such a great sport for spectators. I just don't, yeah, I don't know, yeah, maybe Americans, they've got their own stuff, good enough for them, I suppose. Okay, second map, if Echee or Jeep or however I should call him, sticks with the meta, he'd just go for his own home map here, which would be Evacuation. Always a super chaotic map, anything can happen there. He's got Mongols, which are an amazing civ for it. That's what I'm expecting. Evacuation with the Mongols against Italians, I suppose. But if it's not that, if it's Arabia, then I guess you could use Mongols there as well, but I would save them for evac if I was him. So Britons or Ethiopians, pretty much the same civ here. Who are we kidding? Either one of these on Arabia against... Ooh, shit, but do you want to play that against Vietnamese? Oh, that just sounds horrible. Who drafts these 4 civs when the enemy opens Vietnamese? Am I missing something? Maybe he was expecting to run into Vietnamese with his Persians for some reason, but I'm not sure why he would be expecting Vietnamese for... I don't know. That's a bit odd. I don't know. Mongols, Britons, Ethiopians against Vietnamese, I'm not a fan of. It's okay. At this point, you just open. You just call it, and you say, okay, fair enough. No, I'm definitely not picking Arabia then if I'm Echee now, because there's no chance I'm winning that if he's picking Vietnamese. Obviously, I'm exaggerating, and in low elo matchups and counters and meta doesn't matter pretty much at all. You can just do whatever you want. If you do it well enough, it'll succeed. But you're just making it harder on yourself than it needed to be, that's all. So let's see what we have for game 2 in the WODs. I guess this would be game 2, right? Evacuation. Yeah, that sounds smart. Goes on to evacuation. Jeep does. But doesn't go for the Mongols for some reason. Okay. Mind games here. Doesn't use the first pick at this point. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I can imagine that you enjoyed that draft from your opponent after opening Vietnamese. Full archers. Well, think about it that way. If you're really an archer fetishist, and you're only gonna play archers no matter what, then the rationale could be, sure, the guy drafted Vietnamese, but I'm just gonna draft only archer civs, and so he can only win one of the 3, or he only counters me on one of the 3 maps. That could be his thinking. If that was his thinking, he's going to regret that at this point, because he's lost one of the non-Vietnamese matchups here. And so he's going to have to find an uphill battle back into this, but it's fine. He's got the Britons. They're a really nice civ as well, as I mentioned. They're one of the civs I've got prepped for this tourney as well. They're cool. Best of luck with that. And you're not facing the Vietnamese here, so chances are you might have a decent shot. I just, would have preferred the Mongols here against the Italians, but we'll get to that. What do the Britons offer for this map? I guess they offer the fast shepherds. You can see he can afford to get away with 5 villages on sheep. Means he can move out to wood earlier. Means he's going to be able to get up his stock earlier. Oh, he's gonna play full land again. Scratch everything I just said. He's playing a standard land Britons build. Or is he? I can't tell you. Because he's now sending a 3rd villager to wood after having brought in his rhino surprisingly early. We'll keep monitoring this. Just to close out the civ review. Britons are awesome. They've got a perfect blacksmith. The cavalry sucks, sure, but the infantry is amazing. Fully upgradable champions and all that. On top of their obviously like best archers in the game, pretty much. They produce fast. They've got a million range. Yeah, they're just unfair. So go archers for Britons. If you're an archer enjoyer, yeah, you'll definitely have played this Civ before, and you'll know what I'm talking about. Well, as a Brit, you approve me liking Britons. Okay, fair enough. Well, you're gonna have to face your Britons though in this one, and you're gonna have to do it with the Italians. Okay. I mean, map-wise, I like the Italians more here. Obviously, I already mentioned that it's a water map, right? You can go for a very similar build to the last game if you're Quintem here. Just dock early. It's already got a villager out for fish here. That's nicely done. It's gonna have the wood for a dock. Really good. Okay, he's clean with it. He's played these maps before. Or maybe he's just played a water map before in general. Something that not all of us can claim. So he knows how to go about this. Okay, and also clean with the ball lure, by the way, even with the TC. What a nerd. My god, he's flexing on us here. Has the dock up. And with the Italians, just to maybe say a few words about them as well. I've already ran down their Civ bonuses a bunch of times while casting this tournament, so I'm not gonna give you the whole spiel again. By the way, people always keep asking me why I keep saying the English language is just butchered by German words nowadays. The whole spiel, that word being used in English is so weird to me. But sure, I've agreed to stoop to your level, and now I'm also utilizing it apparently. Loses a villager here, Quintem. All right. Why are the Italians better than the Britons here? Well, they're amazing on water maps because they get up to the next age super fast. They have discounts on pretty much everything that you need on a water map. And that means that you're basically always going to win water early on. And your army options are decent enough as well, right? You have that perfect blacksmith. You have got good archers. You've got anti-cavalry Civ options. You've got gunpowder in the late game. Yeah, solid Civ for these types of maps, and you can't really exploit their potential early land weaknesses all that well, although maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe with the Britons you can squeeze a bit and get some early damage in, although it seems Jeep again is not going to go for some crazy builds here. He's again chosen not to dock, and again, I think if you're doing that, why are you only going up with 20 vills? Typically on Arabia, if you don't have the perfect Hera, the Viper build orders, and you're going up with 20 builds, it's fine. Because chances are your opponent in this elo is also not doing that. And even if they're doing it, they don't have that clean eco distribution. They're not getting their scouts out immediately. You're not going to get punished as hard. If you're doing it on a water map, if you're not doing a water build, but instead you're doing a slow land map opening on a water map, you're getting punished twice. You're getting punished for being slow and not getting the most out of your own build, while the opponent is likely making a dock. And that's eco that you can't raid, that's eco that you don't have, and that's continuously working throughout the game without you really being able to do anything about it. So if you're choosing to go full land, you're gonna have to do it very precisely, right? You're gonna have to be on point. You're gonna know exactly what you're doing, and I haven't liked that approach in both these games for the Britons here, or for Echee here. And the Britons with this for this game, but also with the Persians on the previous one. Oh, okay. Well, that being said, let's see what he can get out of this. Has already killed a villager earlier with that scout, and is almost, well, he is gonna take out another one. Nicely done. Quintem struggling a bit to keep all of his wills safe. This is a nice move. He's trying to lame his opponent's mainland crossing. Obviously, if the opponent is on water, he can just make a transport and transport around these walls, but I'm not sure if this thought has crossed Jeep's mind. Interesting, he goes for these towers. I had thought about a very similar strategy for this map. When I first looked at it, I thought, oh, clearly that is the play. You just go forward, you put towers, or you put a wall here, and then the opponent can't get to his bonus resources. Haha, and then you've gotten. The problem is just that the opponent can just take his res on the mainland, can just take res on the water, and just kill you with that, or, well, force his way through your barricades with that, I think. I haven't tested this actually, but I theory crafted in quite a similar direction to Jeep here, so it's interesting to see him actually attempt this. Didn't work out so well. That forward villager ended up getting spotted. He's done a decent job getting over onto the eco here, but again, this is why you want to pick Mongols instead of Britons. Both have food gathering bonuses, but there's a lot of extra hunt on this map. There's no extra sheep. Well, there is actually extra sheep. Sorry, excuse me. That was wrong. There is a bunch of extra cows here in the neutral area, but he's not gone and collected those. So he might also not have known perfectly about this map. Well, I could forgive him if that was the case, but it is his home map after all. So it's interesting the way he chooses to play this. Yeah. But what I meant was, right, you're always going to have extra berries here. You're always going to have extra hunt here. The extra herdable animals are distributed across the map, not as reliable that you're going to get a lot of them. So Britain's not my first choice over Sif to make use of the bonus res on this map. That's what I meant. Okay, Jeep hasn't really done damage here. He's got an eco KG of 2-1. He's completely ignored water yet again. And he's now adding a weird array of units. Let's see. I love the creativity, definitely. Not a meta slave here by any means. And he's the lowest seeded player in this bracket. So we gotta give him that. He's always gonna have a tough time here. At least that's what the seeding would have you believe. Maybe he can cook something up for us. I'm not hating. I'm just giving my opinions, right? That's the point. Spearman to defend, really nice. Okay. He's gonna be fine there. That is nice attention to detail. If you're making army, make sure to do something with it, right? I've criticized this a couple of times in previous series that I've cast. People sometimes tend to stack army, and even if you're just stacking army at home for some time and not wanting to move out, you can still do something with that army in terms of having it in a useful spot. And yeah, having your spearman in the right places is a good decision. This is a bit awkward. He's lost a lot of HP before even noticing that it was being shot at, and ultimately is just going to lose all these units, isn't he? No blacksmith upgrades for either player, but Italians just end up cleaning up this fight simply because they noticed first. And so, you know, who shoots first usually has an advantage. I've never played a shooters game, but I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. Ready. Interesting that he even went for a defensive tower here. Was that prompted by any aggression? I don't think so. I don't think he was ever harassed over here. Maybe that scout that kept swirling around the area scared him into doing this. I don't hate it, but it's an unnecessary investment into resources, especially with Britons where you want to drop extra TCs, because you have the cheaper TC bonus. I think it would be nice to have had that stone once you get to Castle Age, unless you really needed a tower for defense. Now in the pro games that I've watched, we saw a tower in the spot very often, but that was because aggression took place, because the extra food that people were trying to gather on that crossing here was being pressured. And so, fair enough, you just drop a tower and you're good. But not so here. Castle Age on the way for Quintem. Jeep doesn't have the res yet. He's not terribly far away, right? He's got to mark it up. He's got a good amount of gold. Still making a lot of army though, even adding in some scouts at this point. Very oddly timed, I find it. Because the opponent hasn't really shown any army that you would need scouts to kill it, right? You saw one skirmisher earlier or something. Not sure that's worth adding a stable over. But he's going to delay his Castle Age quite a bit with this, and the Italians are going to get there first. Wonder what the play is going to be for Quintem. I really wonder. His eco setup is a bit weird right now, honestly. He's still gathering this food over here, of course, so food he's going to have enough of. Got a bit on gold. Is he gonna drop stables and go into knights? That would be super powerful right now, but I don't see him constructing any stables. So seems not to be his plan. He's just gonna go into crossbows again, I guess. Right? Maybe he's just an archer player at heart as well. I can relate. Oh, no threat there. How much does he know about this actually? How many of these buildings does he know exist over here? None. Okay. Well, that answers it. Finds the lumber camp and some farms here. Ooh, these farms are really exposed. That's a bit of an awkward spot to try and set up your eco in. The tower at least is coming in handy now, but not all the wheels obviously fit in there. A couple have gone down here. Ouch. Well, that's just one villager going down actually during this specific push, but still a lot of idols here. And Castle Age is in, nowhere near is Jeep to clicking up. This is horrible. This is the point in the game where I'm thinking about calling the GG. But that's because I'm the fastest GGer in this tournament, I suppose. TC going up as well for Quintem this time, adding it much earlier than in the previous game. He's got his forward pressure with the Botkin crossbows, although he's not got a lot of those actually, since he lost a few of them to the tower there. He's training more at home though, it's fine. He's just got a single archery range, so the numbers are not looking as strong as they did last game. Still good though. And Jeep, yeah, he was trying to play land. He's trying to go heavily into army. He was walking that army around quite a bit, but he hasn't really formulated a clear push. And not really come up with ways to really damage the opponent. That being said, his scouts, okay, they're being annoying. 6 eco kills at this point actually. I gotta apologize. I've missed a few villager kills, so he seems to have gotten some eco damage. But the archers is the big thing for me. The archers are with fletching, they're just standing there. They could be pressuring here as well. Elite Skirm is in for Quintem as well, so the archers are not going to be a problem any longer. And still, I just don't see a way for the Britons to get up the Castle Age. I bet you'd love to have some fishing ships right about now for some food eco. Uses the market heavily. Oh, he's still not going to get to Castle Age, since look at the gold. He's now lacking that. Frantically tries to shift around villages to just get closer to clicking up. Rough. Bit rough. Even a siege workshop again for Quint. Maybe he's just likes his crossbows, likes his mangonels. That's what he wants to play. No castles forward, no trebuchets, whatever. Just archers, mangonels. Well, I've done that a lot as well in my latter games. Those are enjoyable units to use, I can confirm. Jeep finally able to click up, but just compare. Resources collected, 1500 apart. The uptime, 5 minutes at least apart. And yeah, eco upgrades a bit better for Quintem. Military upgrades obviously better at this point. Military numbers better for Quintem. It's a difficult one to come back from. Now it's still Britons, and they've still got really good crossbows. Maybe you can get into that and do some damage there. But the Elite Skirm was a good preemptive move for Quintem, so he's not going to get rolled by a surprising push or anything. Yeah, and knowing, like, no matter what type of strategy Echee is going for here, no matter what massive army of archers he's got banked up, or whatever he's doing at home at this point, if you're like 5 minutes, unironically 5 minutes faster to the next age than the opponent, you know that you're ahead. Like, they couldn't possibly be doing anything in feudal age that would justify them staying there for so long. Now again, Quintem has more TCs and has that extra dock. He should be a lot of villages ahead, even with the 7-2 eco KD, the -5 that he's taken there. He should be a lot of wheels ahead at this point. He's got quite a bit of idle time, so despite having a good farming eco setup and fishing eco alongside that, so he has the food to keep the TCs producing. He hasn't always clicked the queue, right? He hasn't always queued up villages, as is the case right now. Thanks for illustrating my point. That is very convenient, as both TCs are currently idled. And yeah, sporadically, every now and then you'll see him queue up a few wills, but it's not gonna... Yeah, well, it could be more efficient is the point. Still, right, even if you're not keeping the TCs working the entire time, in our elo, generally, still a good move to add a few TCs at some point. And he's gotten a small village elite off of it, regardless of the inefficiencies. TC on the way for Jeep now. will need that to protect his eco a bit. Question being, with those mangonels being in already, is he yet again just too late to stabilize the game state? Could very well be. The watchtower here is going down. So this entire area had to be abandoned. Looks like Quintem has no idea that the villagers have moved to the southwest. So he might not be finding this TC, but could just choose to go over to the starting island and take out a lot of stuff there. Not a bad move to go for the knights here. Typically with Britons you won't see that a lot, and especially when the opponents are an anti-cavalry civ, you might think, okay, why are we doing knights here? No, knights in Castle Age is the quickest power spike you can get, right? You can just start training them from scratch the moment you arrive there. Even without upgrades, they're relatively strong unit, really good at taking out enemy siege. So for this push that he's currently faced with, adding a few knights to defend I think is a good choice. Oh, he might actually go counter raid with those. He still has those forward archers. Oh no. No! Speaking of the forward archers, those 6 archers, it might not look like a lot, but they could have done a lot of damage in Castle Age. All of them are taken out. He could have easily cleaned up the skirms with the knights had they been in position, but instead they're just at home, not defending the siege push, not going forward to take out the skirmishers. He almost had it there, Jeep. He almost had an angle where he could punish. Now it's gonna be awkward again. Oh, the game is extremely laggy, isn't it? Let me pause it for a second. I don't know. Maybe. Not sure what the reason is. Is my PC just on breaking point or something? I don't know. Either way, looks like it's fixed now. The knights do slowly but surely clean up a lot of these skirmishes. And are they gonna get both the mangonels as well? I'd assume so. Yeah, this is a decent trade he's taking here for sure. Takes out all that army. That's what I meant, right? For this purpose, adding some knights is pretty good. 2 TCs in a really decent spot. Look at this. That's how ridiculous this is. And I don't like this about this map. I think the bonus resources that you get on this huge, vast mainland area is just way too much. That's why the games always drag out, even in pro play, but especially in our lower elo. People can't even end games on Arabia. How are we supposed to kill our opponent on this map when there's a million res that last you... that we saw a pro player game last 2 hours and 15 minutes on this map. Imagine how long it takes for us noobs to gather all the res on this map. Yeah, I don't like that part of the map. I think it's a bit comparable to... oh, what's the name? Outcrop, I believe it is. Outcrop I have a similar issue with. I think the map is just way too big and too many res are spread so that it's hard to kill people or push them properly. Maybe that's just an archer player speaking who likes to have everything condensed in one space where he can defend it without having mobility. But you know, we all have our biases. I don't know. Okay, Jeep. He might have a shot here. He's got some knights and they're doing some damage. Every now and then he's killed a few vills. But Quintem on the way to Imp. Villager numbers are a little bit better. The eco is set up fine. Honestly, Jeep isn't massively behind here, but it seems like he's been way slower in almost all regards. Except for, I guess, expanding his eco once he's gotten to Castle Age in both of these games. The eco expansion has been decent, but he's gonna add a 4th town center while having 7 villagers on food. So the villager boom is gonna be quite limited. Quite limited. And now even the forward siege workshop. How many resources does this guy plan on spending? How many of the 500 total that he has in the bank is he going to be spending on villagers, and how many on siege? I don't know. We'll see. The knights are really paying off though for him. You can see EcoKD keeps steadily climbing. The +2 armor upgrade was also a really good choice. Not investing a ton, right? Just 10 knights in total or whatever he's made. 2 armor upgrades from the blacksmith. That has killed a lot of military and villager numbers from the opponent, who's now going into monks and pikes to try and put an end to this knight. Well, what is it called? Oh, it's too late. It's too late. I was trying to look for a fancy word. Yeah, I'm gonna have to give up on that. But the knight issue, it's gonna be handled eventually, I believe. We'll see how good Quintem is with his monks. But even if that fails, the pikes should deal with that once he's got the upgrades and numbers. But maybe I should give Jeep a bit more credit. He seems to be an archer player, clearly. So in an even eco state, with a good archer civilization, maybe he can do something. Maybe. He's still not up to Imp, and nowhere near. And his opponent has looked very solid in the first game, so I'm definitely leaning towards Quintem here. But you never know. Yeah, I agree. I like having a lot of resources as well. I just don't like them being spread out this far on a huge map, right? Oh. Yeah. I agree in general. I think it's cool to have a lot of res available to be able to switch into stuff. I don't even necessarily mind longer games. I just hate drawn out games where the game state doesn't change for ages. The game state doesn't feel like it's being progressed. It's just people chasing each other around the map or building stuff and destroying the same stuff again without going into new units, launching raids, just running away from the inevitable. That kind of thing I hate. Castle forward, okay. That's one way to progress the game state, so to speak. I don't think Quintem knows about the 2 southern TCs, so he only knows about this one. If he knew about those, he could go for this Giga Brain TC or castle spot in the middle of all of them. I'm not sure he's got enough army to force such a TC up, especially or such a castle, especially now that Echee goes for his own castle here. Now that's going to go up, I believe, but the one behind him might still be an issue since that one is going to be able to train trebuchets, which the Britons can't do right now in Castle Age, obviously. Siege work forward also didn't produce a single siege unit the entire time. Who would have guessed? Not trying to be smug, but being a bit smug. 2 converted knights, really nice. Make sure to do this, guys, by the way. If you convert knights, pull them back immediately, heal them up, send them out to raid eco. That's how you want to do it. And even if they accomplish nothing more than this, it's already 2 knights converted plus 2 knights from the opponent that are being forced to go home because they're chasing down your knights. Both players with the castle up. And are there going to be traps coming out of this one? No, they're just Genoese. And I guess having a couple of Genoese out before making your trebuchets is smart, because the knights could otherwise just sacrifice themselves, rush down the trebuchets. If you're not quick walling them in or don't have a million helps guarding them, I think that's a smart decision. So, yeah, maybe get 4 Genoese, 6 Genoese and start making traps if you want to do that. Otherwise, just queue up some traps now, because while you have the timing advantage to Imp, get as much damage out as possible. That's how I see things. Ooh. Oh, those are your knights, actually. You made your own knights. Okay, I saw you convert earlier. So, I'm not sure how many you got off of that. I assumed you just converted that, but okay. Making a few knights of your own isn't a bad play here either, right? You've got bloodlines at least. Okay, you don't have blacksmith upgrades for them, but just for raiding purposes, I don't mind adding some knights here. Honestly, probably in your spot, I probably would have raided with pikemen, because the enemy hasn't shown anything but knights. In those games, I really like to send my pikemen into his eco. But works just as well making your own knights, obviously. And the tip for what to do with converted knights still applies. Okay, well, the first TC down here has been spotted, and sadly for the second one, it's gonna get caught up in the crossfire, so to speak, once the first one is being taken out, I assume. Oh man. Oh, this is like when you did something bad at school, right? For example, at my school, we weren't allowed to use our phones. If you and your friend were sitting there in the breaks, having your phones out, and you were doing it really sneakily behind a corner, and your friend was just standing there, and he gets caught, a teacher comes over, and then you get caught for having your phone out as well. That's what this is right now. The other GC thinks it's being so sneaky, it's not being spotted, it's perfect. But this guy might ruin it all for him. But who knows? Maybe actually it proves correct in its assumption that it's not going to be spotted. looks like the units aren't actually progressing in here. So, good for you, Southern TC. Good for you. You avoided corporal punishment. Well, okay, you just killed this imp TC and I was too busy making a mediocre joke, so fair enough. I'll take that. I'll take that on the chin. Now the TC has been spotted, okay. And he's gonna have to click up to imp yet again. Well, bold move to go up to imp in that TC, but it is what it is. Could have chosen your home TC for that. Does so now. That's gonna delay him even further. I don't think it would have mattered at all, though. Even if he was imp at this point. Like, what is he doing? One trebuchet from this castle before it gets strapped down? His position is not really tenable for much longer, I don't think, is it? There we get a conversion on a knight. At least the chat says so. And no counter rating again. All game. Well, not all game. GGs are called here. But I like the knight play in the beginning here from Jeep. That was really good in early castle age. He got himself back into the game with that. But yeah, now for the last 10 minutes there hadn't been any counter rates anymore. And so Quintem was getting real far ahead. Closes out the game in a very similar fashion to the first game. I could basically just repeat the same stuff I said about game 1 in terms of the approaches and in terms of the criticism of both players, like their strengths and weaknesses. It's been the exact same game. With the exception that Jeep made a bit of a comeback here with the knights. That was good, and I already pointed that out. Otherwise, yeah, I have nothing new to say at all. And we're not gonna see Arabia here in that series, but that's fine with me. I get to go to bed a bit earlier, I suppose. And I think that's all the series wrapped up in this bracket. All the first round series I believe I've cast. We'll see. I'll play my own second round series on Wednesday, I think. So that's 2 days from now. I'll be streaming that, of course. If I lose, I'm out. So let's see how that goes. I was really hyped for this tournament because I like the maps. Let's hope I stay in. I missed your Great Wall. Well, yeah, you did wall all that main island. It looked good, but I didn't think it was too important. Sorry if that hurts you. Now, alright, that's gonna be it. As always, I'm uploading the content from Hera's Colosseum to my YouTube playlist of the same name. And you can find all the games there if you want to see how your opponents played, or if I've cast any games from you. Feel free to check that out. And yeah, anything else? No, I think that's it. I'll cast whenever, again, I feel like it, and whenever I have time, which is quite difficult to predict these days with the work I've got lined up. Not sure how much I'll be able to continue doing this, but it's been fun so far in the first week of this tournament. So no guarantees there, but fine. That's gonna be it for today. Probably not casting anything tomorrow. I don't see how I'd have time for that, but who knows. Okay, well, that's it then. See you next time. Was a fun one.